Hey, everybody. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Dixie 504, it's good to see you. Jen Marie, how are you? Moni 609, good to see you. Did I just say 609? Kristen Melinda, how are you? Good to see you. Ben Bacon is meat. Candy Turner. Matrix Rabbit, what's happening? BT is back. Hello, Vixen. Tammy. Just Pauline, good to see you. Nicola, glad you're here. Jilbo Baggins, what's happening, Jilbo? Good to see you. Anne from Massachusetts. All right. Simon's girl, good to see you. Gene Strong. Anthony, good to see you. Hello, Carousel Delirium. Hello, Mimi. Narcoleptic. Chihuahua Productions. You're more sore today, aren't you? I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Yeah, sadly, it is always a little bit worse the next couple of days. Tree hugging Buddhist. Thank you. You've lost 20 pounds since January. I'm sorry, what? January was 2 months ago, wasn't it? Good for you. I very distinctly remember you calling the shot. Just Pauline said, this is the year. It wasn't a hey, I might do that. It was a freaking proclamation. It was a proclamation. This is the year. This is the year I'm doing it. This is the year I'm taking it back. This is the year I'm doing it. Good for you. God bless you. I love that. Absolutely freaking love that. I really do. Here's my friend Sarah from Boston. Thank you, Sarah. That's a very kind thing to say. I love seeing you guys over in when I'm in someone else's chat and I see people from the boat. It's always so much fun. This is the freaking year. That's right, Pauline. Yeehaw! Well, that's worth it. That is worth it. Honestly, that's fantastic, and it's just the start. It's just the start, right? It is just the start. I was talking to a friend today, and I lost. I think I was bragging about this yesterday on the last boat. My driver's license is under 200 pounds, which I don't remember. I would have had to go to high school, I think, to get it. My last driver's license that was under 200 pounds. And this is by design. There are a lot of you who reach out to me and tell me I look like I'm dying. I get that all the time. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've worked very hard to look like a corpse. But I did it over a really long period of time. It was like everything else that I recommend. Don't do anything fast. If you can do it slow, do it slower. It's always a better idea. Balak A. Richardson, good to see you. How are you, my amigo? Hello, Cosmic Christie. Today is my 60-day sober. I love it when people say I only just realized that, or I forgot about it, or yesterday was my, because you know what? Today is another day. It's a huge other day, right? But you almost forgot about it because you're getting good at being that person. I love it when one of my sobriety dates goes zipping by. I'll be honest, I never miss the year, but like the 18, I'll say that I'm a year, or 8 years sober, or 7.5. And somebody on the boat would always say to me, "Oh no, you're closer to this," because they all know that my sobriety date's in June. But Cosmic Christie, that's epic. It really is. That's epic. And you know what? One of the cool. Hey, what's happening, Lisa? Good to see you. Smitty, good to see you. I love Cosmic Christie that you have had the. I was going to say stones. I'm going to say stones anyway. Screw it. Right? We're all grown-ups here. I love that you've had the stones to do this with the entire world watching. I mean it. It takes guts. You didn't just get sober. You got sober with the entire world watching, and you share your ups and your downs and your sideways, and I lurk and I watch, and I think it's amazing stuff. So congratulations. It's so much more than 60 days. So I'm glad we can talk about this. I'm glad we're talking about days. I'm glad we're talking about days. Because you know something? Numbers stop meaning stuff, right? They're great in the beginning. Honest to God, they are. And they're important. And you know what? They mark things, right? There are 365 of them in a year. And we knock 365 of those puppies down and we start going, hey, man, it's been a year. And you know what? Years stack up. You start going, I've been sober for how long? Or 1,095 days ago, my dad died. It was the last day of February 3 years ago. We get hung up on days in sobriety, wicked hung up on it. It's awesome to count, and I think everybody should. Matrix Rabbit says, been sober for like 20 years, and I am particularly fond of the like. I've been sober for like 20 years. I dig it. I really do. I dig it. Thank you, Shannon, and thank you to everybody. You know what? It is a day like yesterday. Although I'll be honest, this one was a lot easier than the last one, which was a lot easier than the one before that. And I've said this on the boat before. Now the memories of my dad are happy ones. You know, when you first lose somebody, you think about all of the stuff that you wish you did different, and you concentrate on stupid stuff like that you can't do anything about. And then you take the advice that you hand out, and you write letters that he can't read, or at least I can't mail them to him. Maybe he's reading them. And I do all of the things that I couldn't do, and I get over the holidays and the birthdays and the things that I was gone for, because that is something that I wrestle with. Yeah, you know. But however, you know what? The old man had a great life. It was a good long one, and he was great at communicating. I talk to people and they say, you know, I was meaning to get a hold of my dad or whatever. My dad called me twice the last day he was on Earth to tell me that it was his last day on Earth. And when I say my old man was a great communicator, he was a hell of a communicator. He was letting me know. Now, you know what? First tough one, and you're talking out loud about it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! We have ourselves a winner. Holy hell, we have ourselves a winner. If this is truly the first time that it feels tough and you're here and you're talking about it, welcome to success. Good God, it took me 3 decades to do that. That is awesome. That's what you do when it starts feeling tough. You come here and you say, or you come anywhere else, this is a peer support group. All right, I didn't split any atoms. I didn't invent anything. I just got sober off heroin and did it with the help of some people that made me believe. That's a great comment, Rona. Grief comes in waves. It's the unexpected ones that are the worst. I think that there's a lot of truth to that. And I think that I used to let the anniversary of my father's death, also things like his birthday and things like that. I think I used to let them kick the crap out of me. I think I used to start letting them kick the crap out of me a couple of days beforehand, right? Before it happened, I would start to concentrate on it. And then I started going back through, and it always comes back to, it's really kind of sad, but it always comes back to the same thing, which is perhaps if I do what I tell people to do, right? Like the whole you're not going to get two thoughts occupying your dome at the same time, right? That's impossible. So these anniversaries of loss for me become days where I concentrate. I was with my boy earlier and I was talking to him about my dad, telling him few stories about my pops, and I was talking to my brother earlier about him, and it's you know, I'm getting better as time goes on at controlling certain things within my head. I'm a head case, right? I really am. I'm a head case, and I don't know that I've met anybody yet that's not. Honest to God, I don't think we were designed for a world that doesn't exist, and sadly, I think that really is the case. Hold that thought. Sudden temporary upsurge of grief. Stug. Yeah. Sorry. Every once in a while, the no squirrel cam because squirrel is not in the basket. You know what I got to do? Honestly, I probably need to take this thing and go like this, stick it over there, because chances are, right, if it's my kid, I'm looking at him, right, and if it's my other kid, chances are she'd be reaching out to him anyway. But I am really getting horrific at the jumping off of track and then getting back on. Comment, Tommy, context. Stop smoking 17 days ago. This is nicotine, huh? Wow. The hardest day of those 17. Okay, well, nicotine. Okay, so nicotine's a bitch. Tonight has been the hardest of the days of those. Thanks to this community, felt less alone. And the Jones, right? The withdrawal and the cravings that are going to come on from this, right? These are cigarette cravings, and they come on more often than do others, right? And the reason is because we fix with nicotine more than we fix with other things, right? Think about it. If you're addicted to nicotine, you fix 20 times a day, 40 times a day, depending, right? Completely a different thing. So for that reason, it is you get the cravings more often during the day because we program ourselves, like especially what, right after we eat or right after sex or right after, because we programmed ourselves over really long periods of time. So during those 8 minutes, right, when you're really, really struggling, you need to reach out to somebody that understands, that can help tell you a stupid story or get you laughing or do whatever, right? Or distract the crap out of you, or to do something just for those 8 minutes. This actually makes quite a bit of sense too. We've talked about this a lot on the boat. Base level, and nicotine, right? Base level nicotine. So your base level of nicotine times 2, right? That's what nicotine does. When you do nicotine, your base level increases twofold. Yeah. So do 200% for all intents and purposes. Now, it doesn't do it for a very, very long period of time. Guys, kind of straight up, kind of straight down. But because it's going into your system through your lungs are in a very, very effective delivery system. And that nicotine gets into your bloodstream very, very quickly. And doubling your dopamine is usually just enough, right, to really take the edge off. A lot of people here on the Lifeboat are true crime fans, true crime aficionados, people that really have spent a lot of time watching a lot of true crime videos. If you Google the the montage of people who have said, "Give me a cigarette and I'll tell you what you want to know," and watch how many people got that cigarette and spent, or got a pack of cigarettes and spent, the next, day and a half just confessing every single thing they've ever done. But you can watch the personality change, right? Even a person who knows he's going to prison for the rest of his life, whatever, right? gets that cigarette and goes from being that person who's handcuffed and terrified and all that to, you know what, this is my room. Right? There's a really excellent example of it where the guy lights the cigarette and says to them, I'm going to give you the world tonight. And he just looks so arrogant. He's getting ready to confess that he killed, can't remember how many people. I know at least 3 were women and 1 guy. So at least 4. And then I think he claimed several others. But that nicotine hit for a lot of people is, you know, because of how quickly it gets into the system, and it can be a very difficult thing for some people to quit. But at 8 minutes, right? Come on, we can do anything for 8 minutes. Right? Anything for 8 minutes. You also got to learn to break up things. If you're quitting something that is that routine and that ritualized, then you have to implement other rituals, things that you do directly after dinner, right? Nicotine is tough. Make no mistake, it is. But walk outside, right? Go for a walk. Do something immediately after dinner. Play with your cat. Do something, but get something that is habitual, something that you're going to do that because I promise that immediately after you are done eating, to aid in digestion or to help whatever. Gail, what a kind thing to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we're not going to have that. Well, we're not going to have that. I'm not sure if you've heard, but the battle cry around here is never quit quitting. Right? That sounds almost like you're going to quit quitting. Almost. So here's what we're going to do. Can we figure out a way to not light stuff on fire and breathe it into your lungs? Let us accept the fact that the drug you're addicted to is nicotine, right? And then let us figure out a way to get nicotine into your body that is less abusive to you than lighting something on fire, Fahrenheit 440 and some change, right? And then breathing that deep into your lungs, because that's the problem. The problem's not the nicotine. It's the tar. It's the, now before any of you crap on me, what are you saying, Tommy? The nicotine's not bad? No, nicotine sucks, but no one's dying of nicotine. They're dying of cancer that they're getting from the tar and the 4,000 other chemicals or whatever. Now, is vaping good? No, it's not. But it's not Fahrenheit 440 some odd degrees either. You're not lighting something on fire. Now, it also comes in several grades, one of which is called food grade. And food grade vape stuff is a whole lot easier on the body. You can look it up. It's worth researching if you're going to be going that route. If not, go get one of those little pouches. Go get one of those little lozenges. Go get something. But you don't need to quit nicotine. The incredible thing is this. There are other ways to get the drug, right? Which is what you're addicted to, into your body. So stop kicking the crap out of yourself. If you want the drug, go ahead. Captain Tommy's not saying quit the drug. I'm just saying a little harm reduction right here would be a great time for harm reduction. Doing something with your hands. Crochet is excellent. Hello, Cindy Plumley. Glad that I am glad that you are back. Why do I feel like, you ever feel like your tongue weighs 25 pounds and just doesn't want to work right? 2013 is when you quit, Kristen. Good for you. You know, the funny thing about quitting cigarettes is how fast you feel different. Nothing that I've ever done in my life do you get a faster return on your investment than quitting smoking cigarettes. I mean, nothing. Within about 2 or 3 days, 4 days, you start tasting things going, what the hell is this? Like, I haven't tasted that in a really long time. The patch only works if it's on my mouth. Okay. Yep, I've heard that one. Get that patch, stick it right here. Or forget the patch and go with the sleeveless sweater. You know what I mean? Like, if you got the Nicotine sleeveless sweater, just sort of zip that thing on, pull it up the wallow around in it. Very, very funny episode of a television program called Talk Radio. with the great Phil Hartman, former comedian from Saturday Night Live. Nothing smells as good as 4 cigarette free days. So you know what? As day 4 cigarette free. True story, right? You start smelling things. You're going, what the hell's that smell? What the hell's that taste? Calhoun's going like this. Nod. It's life-changing stuff. And then the next thing you know, going up the stairs wasn't that tough, right? It just wasn't that tough. That's so funny, Jobo. I remember those days. Getting dizzy from so much oxygen when I quit. Yeah. What advice can I give my aunt who is dealing with chemo and cancer and is still smoking to tell her friends because she just can't handle quitting right now? Too much stress. Is she terminal? You know, I have known situations where someone had terminal cancer. And you know what? If you're terminal, I don't know that I would encourage someone terminal to quit. I mean, I'm sorry. What's the point? If this is the end of life. Now, if they're fighting, if they're taking, I know a little something about chemo, right? Everyone knows a little something about chemo. Everyone knows a little something about radiation, right? This is going to beat the out of the person who's getting this treatment. Smoking is going to just be the absolute worst thing possible for them. The advice that I would give them is the same advice. If what you're addicted to is nicotine, let's get smoke out of your life because you have cancer, right? If you're addicted to nicotine, let's get the smoke out of your life. You already have cancer, right? If it hops the curb, we get into something that we call metastasized, right? And that means it's all over but the crying. So we can't really afford for you to be sucking burning hot stuff into your lungs while you're suffering viciously with a compromised immune system, which radiation and chemo have a real tough time on your immune system. Right? It's not great stuff. Megan, you're going to quit too. Look, harm reduction. Harm reduction. Quit lighting stuff on fire and breathing it into your lungs. You can vape, right? Start vaping. Go to those little Zin pouch things. Go to something. There are so many different delivery methods to get nicotine into your system these days, right? I have not hidden the fact I am currently vaping. I have quit and then started again probably 3 times while doing the boat. A carton of premium cigarettes in Canada is $215. Good God. You've got to be kidding. That is insane. That is insane. I buy food grade nicotine. And the reason I'm just keeping it 100% real, people, I don't know that without it, I could go to the bathroom. I don't go to the bathroom very well with it, but nicotine is definitely a part of my regiment, sadly. Yeah, Evie, this is something that people say a lot. News Radio, Atypical Paul, great. It's one of the funniest episodes ever. One gentleman is trying to quit coffee. One gentleman is trying to quit nicotine. So it's nicotine and caffeine. That episode is just one of the funniest things ever. That's cheap. $215. That's cheap. Good Lord, real scummy. Where are you spending money? I remember, well, that there's nothing worse than when you say, my first pack of cigarettes cost me this much. I remember my dad used to say, nickel, used to pay nickel for 60 for a 20 pack Pall Mall. 60 for a 20 pack of Pall Malls. Pall Malls were, oh, wow. I'm sorry, what? Jen, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm sorry that you've had a bad day, but I'm glad that you're here. We have them, don't we? We do. We have them. Everybody has them. I remember when cigarettes went up from $2 to $2.50, and then up and up and up. The first pack of cigarettes I bought was less than $2. I can truthfully say that. Miss D says 75 cents in the 1970s. Tell you what, though, I got you all beat. I got you all beat. Dustin Cleveland, I used to do the same thing, but I would do it at a different hotel. But you would go into the cigarette machines because there would be nobody there watching them. They were usually just out in front of the bar. There would be a cigarette machine there. They're the kind you pulled the big long. You put your coins in and you pulled this big long thing in the cigarettes. That's how everybody used to get them in my hometown. That's how. That's definitely how that worked. Howard Johnson's too, huh? Howard Johnson's. The generic form of Chantix, that worked for you? All right. If by some chance you happen to be taking Wellbutrin, right? Wellbutrin and Chantix is the same thing, right? It's just written in different prescription amounts, and you've got to be careful that you don't overlap those two. If you happen to be taking Bupurion, I don't know how to pronounce it. Bupurion. I'm close. Something like that. It's the generic name for Wellbutrin. It is also the generic name for Chantix. Chantix in smaller amounts, and normally, I don't think time released. Could be wrong, but I know that the other Wellbutrin is the time released. But you got to be careful that you don't overlap them, so you can end up with too much of it in there. The vapes, which cool the burn, is what I need. I can't kick it. Didn't smoke till late 20s, now 50. Am the most serious than ever to quit. I hope Jen's day is cheered up here. Love you too. Dustin, I'm glad that you're thinking about it. The time comes, people. Sherry Rook said my first pack was 45 cents. My first pack was 45 cents. I never got anything that was that low. Terribly sorry. Well, look, cool the burn, right? Cool the burn. Sydney Plumley says, I'm not paying $10 a pack. I remember people saying that about 3. I remember people saying that about 4. Always loved the sound and the pull of the cigarette machine, says Duchess. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. And cigarette machine in a bar was how I started again after a year off them. Didn't have to look at anyone while I bought them. Yeah, right. And don't think they don't think of that. Kristen, don't think that they don't think of that. I mean, back in the day, they definitely made the cigarette machine so that there was less shame. Because, thank you, Dixie 504, bupropion. See, I told you, it's not even easy when I can read it. Bupropion. See, I was right. I just can't speak, but thank you. Tommy, can you talk about Xanax a bit? I just learned it can cause dementia if taken over a long period of time, and that it disrupts rejuvenated sleep. Not real happy to learn that. Can you chime in? Absolutely. What were we talking about? I'm kidding. Alprazolam, Xanax. The generic for Xanax is a drug called alprazolam. This is a benzodiazepine, and is kind of like it's not a new drug by any chance, stretch the imagination. It's been around for a very, very long time. However, in the scheme of benzos, it is a newer benzo than, say, Valium, right? Which was like the original. It has, as opposed to just being the tranquilizer, it has some form of a happy component in it. This is how it's been explained to me by doctors. But more importantly, field tested the dog crap out of it. And there's something about Xanax, whereas you definitely feel like you get a buzz off of Valium, and it feels like a beer buzz or an alcohol buzz. Xanax gets you happy. There's that buzz that feels like you've had alcohol in the system, because benzos and alcohol mimic each other incredibly in the body. But you also get this, hey, everything is okay. And it's given usually for anxiety. Can it cause dementia over long periods of time? There are studies that say all benzos can. Now, Xanax is going to take the hardest hit on that. And the reason is it is probably that and Klonopin are going to be the benzos that most people stay on for the longest periods of time. Very often, doctors will write a prescription for, Valium to get somebody through a loss of a loved one, or get somebody through a end of life diagnosis or something like that, given to calm people down during times of anxiety. Then there are people who are treated because they have an anxiety disorder or whatever, and they're taking this drug for a decade or 2 decades. Is it going to do damage? Absolutely. I'm sorry, it is. There's no getting around it, and there's a bunch of studies. But the good news is, if you start a little harm reduction, right? By the way, you can't quit, right? This is something that you have to taper off over a very long period of time, right? Benzodiazepines are not drugs that you can quit cold turkey. They have to be tapered off, and you have to ask for a doctor to help you with this. You hear me? Once a doctor's helping you, we can be here. We can say prayers for you. We can back you up. We can, if you don't believe in prayer, we got you back. We're here. Whatever makes you happy, right? What we can't do is help you through this. A doctor needs to, because cold turkeying off of alprazolam, diazepam, fluindapazepam, any of those can kill you, right? Bad juju. You need to talk to your doctor before you quit any benzo. But so Xanax was not a particularly abused drug, and it was not a particularly dangerous drug, in my humble opinion, until they started doing the bar thing. The Xanny bars, okay, Xanax used to come in little footballs, right? And occasionally you would see somebody that was getting big ones, right? And big ones were 1 milligram. Because normally you got 1/4 milligram, 1/2 milligram, and a big one was 1 milligram. Well, now there are bars out there that are 5 milligrams. That's way too much alprazolam. I mean, not for real. That's a crap load of that drug. And by the way, as dangerous, people make a very big deal. You meant to say Audubon. Well, no, Audubon's a little bit different, actually. Audubon's a little different. So instead of alprazolam, Audubon, lorazepam. And different. The difference is there's a lot less there's a lot less bad press that I've come across for lorazepam than would be for the alprazolam than the Xanax. But again, that's probably because a lot more prescriptions are written for Xanax. I'll be honest, I abused the Stoli out of Audubon. One of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. I had I don't know what you call this. I dated a girl, and this was I dated a girl, and this was a mother-in-law to her, or a previous mother-in-law to her that she was still friends with, ran a pharmacy, right? And she would go in and get the little pink houses. The name brand Audubons look like a house. They look like an A, but they come down and they make these perfect little, like if you were to draw the one-room schoolhouse, cartoon schoolhouse, that's what it looked like. And I would get the pink ones and just get handfuls of them. I really was a fan of this for a long time. First time I quit opiates, I was also taking Xanax with it. and cold turkey both, but the Xanax gave me weird muscle spasms for more than a week. Matt, you're lucky you're not dead. There's no other way to put that. You're lucky you're not dead. Those spasms that you're talking about, right? Those weird muscle spasms can get inside here. And those muscle spasms can make it so that your lungs don't do what they are supposed to do. Real talk. This is also real. This is also real. Be very careful with Chantix or with Wellbutrin. Same reason. You can they can absolutely mess you up. There are people who get unaliving ideations, suicidal ideations that come from that. Two milligrams of lorazepam, 2 milligrams above 2 milligrams of lorazepam would not have an increased effect. Oh God, Lord. No, above 2 milligrams of lorazepam definitely gets you. If you take 4 milligrams of lorazepam, you get way more of an effect than you get on 2. I abused the crap out of lorazepam. That was one of my all-time favorite drugs. I abused the crap out of it. But if you're taking it exactly how you're supposed to be taking it, that's probably a good thing. Benzo withdrawals are no joke, Brianna. Benzo withdrawals are no joke and can kill you. I promise you. Megan, your doctor told you to get off Xanax a couple of weeks ago. Did he give you a plan of getting off Xanax, or did your doctor just say, hey, get off Xanax? Because that's but if you have a handful left over at the end of the month, then you're probably not doing the you're probably not in a lot of trouble. That would be my gut. The people that but still, please talk to your doctor. Please talk to your doctor. God, I'm always terrified when people talk about that. Xanax and hydrocodone together can cause a brain bleed. There's a lot of truth to this, and there's science behind it, right? Hydrocodone is always, right, almost always stacked really deep with acetaminophen, which thins the blood big time thins the blood. And the combination of all of these, it's a very, very dangerous drug. And does cause hemorrhagic strokes. And you can come back from ischemic strokes. Hemorrhagic ones are really, really hard to come back from. By the way, people, do you know what I'm doing tomorrow night here on the boat? Do you know what I'm doing tomorrow night here on the boat? Huh? I have a special guest tomorrow on the boat. So you got to make sure you're here. Tomorrow I am going to be having Captain Mark Wages is going to be with me here on the boat. For those that have been around a really long time, you all know who Mark Wages is. If not, I think you're going to dig this. I think you're really going to dig it. Mark is a fascinating guy and really does some very interesting stuff with space weather, but there wouldn't be a lifeboat without him. So it's going to be fun. Huckleberry says, I'm baffled how anyone stays conscious or aware on Xanax. How about people who stay conscious or aware on Xanax after taking 5 or 6 of them? And drinking 3 or 4 beers. You go, it's not even pot. These things all take place over really long periods of time, building up tolerances to them. But there are some people for whom those kind of drugs will always lay them down, right? Jobo Baggins says, I was on both clonazepam and morphine and oxycodone. Good God. Tapering off the benzos is critical for me to continue on this planet. It makes me wonder, oh man, what kind of doctor writes a prescription for both clonazepam and morphine and oxycodone? Wow. So Percocet, morphine, and Klonopin. Good God. Those are 3 ripping respiratory depressants. All of those slow down your breathing, Joe Blow. Please, for the love of God, don't drink anything. And talk to your doctor and just say, aren't all of these things respiratory depressants? Because honestly, that's just a terrible combination. God almighty. That is just a terrifying combination. It makes you wonder what kind of doctor does this. Duchess Diana says, fortunately, I don't abuse ever, but not feeling any benefit anymore. Absolutely, you're not. If you never abused lorazepam, right? But what you're taking is 2 milligrams, then you're not going to feel it. You're definitely not going to feel anything. You stopped feeling it a long time ago. Because we build up tolerances to benzos. We really do. And I would imagine that in the beginning you felt it. I mean, because lorazepam, it's like 2 milligrams of lorazepam to me, if I had to describe it, and this is when I was, a 220-pound guy, it was like 6 mixed drinks, 6 mixed drinks. That's what it felt like. 7 or 8 beers and a pill. But you build up a tolerance quick as hell. Quick as hell. And pretty soon you're normal as hell on that. You don't slur, you're not stumbly, you're none of those things. You're just you're calm, right? Your heart's not racing. I wonder if that's why people don't get restorative. That's a word that's always hard for me to read. Restorative sleep, because it's a respiratory depressant. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is this. This is something that people don't take into account, right? We think to ourselves, alcohol is a great example. Perfect example is booze, right? You come in and you go, I've had 9 beers. The room is spinning, right? You just think, I am so tired. I am going to sleep so well, right? And you fall down onto the bed, and do you sleep good? Hell no, right? Hell no, because you're drugged. And you're drugged by a poison. And as that poison starts to come out your body, it sucks every bit of water out of every single cell. Now, pretty soon you got to race like a you-know-what kind of horse, right? Or pee like a racehorse. And then you get up and in the middle of the night, you go do that one, and your mouth is dry as hell, and not a great way to sleep. Well, it's the same thing with every drug out there. Now, I will admit that nodding out on heroin is probably as close to sound sleep as a drug will deliver. The problem is that it's a little too sound to sleep. You know what I mean? You're not working through anything in life. You're not doing a whole lot of extracurricular activities. You're not working through anything when you're passed out on that. You're not sleeping. You're unconscious, and it is a completely different thing. I am taking 1 milligram of Klonopin split in half morning and evening as prescribed. Sandy, I appreciate your honesty. I've been hysterical and very upset most of the day, luckily. No, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And I think that I don't think that's bad. And I think that as recovering addicts, we start feeling guilty when we say things like this, right? I want to keep it for only when I need it, so I get sort of the most effect out of it. We feel guilty saying stuff like that. Look, if you're taking it to get the most effect out of it, right? I mean, for real, if this is something you're taking to calm you down, then you want it to calm you down. You want it to have the best effect. I'll be honest with you. today's a day I would love to take something. Today is one of those days, because if I don't, I'm going to spend a pretty decent chunk of today thinking about my dad and losing him 3 years ago. How addictive is gabapentin? I guess thank you, Z-Dub. Good to see you. How addicting is gabapentin? Honestly, it depends on who you ask. It really does. It depends on who you ask. I don't think that there's a lot of evidence to back up anything about gabapentin being addicting. Not for a hot second. I don't, Lori. Now, I can tell you this. I took gabapentin every day for 32 months, right? 32 months, 34 months, something like that. Then I walked out of prison and never took it again. That was it. Never once took it ever again. And I didn't get any withdrawal. I didn't get any feeling of needing it. But it was the only medication I could get to treat something on the inside. They don't give it out anymore on the inside. People have found out they could get high on it. Apparently, you save it up and eat a bunch of it. Brianna Miller says, if I have gabapentin, it makes me feel weird. Well, yep, that's high, right? See, I get this too. Carisoprodol, 2 somas. Carisoprodol comes in 350s and 500s, and they are a muscle relaxer. Same family as cyclobenzaprine or Flexeril. And there is nothing like a soma holiday. That is from a book called Brave New World. Don't pick on me. I didn't write that. That was, in fact, they talked about soma in Brave New World prior to soma being a drug. It was written about as this mythical drug, and then some pharmaceutical company was smart enough to say, well, we're going to name our muscle relaxer after it. Dustin, I don't know which one. I don't know what SSRI that you're talking about. There are a lot of them that are ugly. But what doesn't work for one person can be a lifesaver for the other. It really is a weird thing because it's you're dealing with brain chemistry. Thank you, Natalia. I appreciate that. 3 years ago in April. It's no, right? We don't get over it, right? We learn to live with it. Thank you, Ann Hummingbird. You are very kind. I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate that. It's and you know what? Again, this has been a better anniversary than the previous ones. Now, this is also a respiratory depressant. This is another drug that will make you feel like, oh man, you get the greatest sleep of your life. And the first 2 nights, it will really feel that way. It will be fantastic. But by the third one, you're not really getting that sleep. You have to talk to your doctor about Cymbalta. Do not quit Cymbalta or any other drug for depression without talking to a doctor. This, Jen, this is something that I'm hearing a lot of people talk about. No one had talked about this when I was incarcerated. Since getting out, I've heard so many people say this. This is an off-label use of gabapentin as a mood stabilizer. And you know what? I think it is a great idea. What do you think of that? No joke. I think it's a great idea. I saw guys in there that were I saw guys in prison that were abusing gabapentin. I mean, they were buying way more of it than they were supposed to be taking. They were taking it in very high doses. But I saw some guys that were really not the nicest people in the whole world that I thought were very, very stable on that stuff. I used to joke with Q about it. I used to say it's a matter of time before they're going to start using that stuff as an antidepressant or as mood stabilizer, and they do. Question: have muscle spasms? Can I sleep on cyclobenzaprine? Yeah, cyclobenzaprine will not keep you awake. Cyclobenzaprine is just like carisoprodol, it's soma. It's just Flexeril. It's just a muscle relaxer. Muscle relaxers, by definition of what they are, knock you the hell out. They relax your muscles. You know, you basically what are my thoughts on hydroxyzine? Hydroxyzine is a technically, and again, I'm not a doctor, right? Sherry had to be a mistake. I don't know what happened with Sherry, but Sherry's on ours. I don't know what happened. Hydroxyzine is something that they're giving to people to help them try to go to sleep, right? But what it is it's an antihistamine, believe it or not, right? This is another off-label thing. Technically, it is a massive, massive overdose of antihistamine, but it's used to help people going to sleep. No buying drugs on the boat. Yeah, maybe not such a great idea for buying. Will microdosing shrooms test positive on a 5-panel test? I got to be honest. I'm not, this is not an area I normally go down, but here's what I'll tell you this. There is no test, right? They're not testing for psilocybe cubenzas. They're not. I've never seen a test on a 37-panel test, right? I've never seen it on a, and I've literally seen 37-panel tests. They're not testing for psilocybin. They're not testing for drugs they don't think people can abuse. And I'll be honest with you. You guys can hate me for this if you'd like. I don't think you can abuse mushrooms. I'm sorry, I don't. I think you can be stupid with them, right? But you can be stupid with beer too. Right? You can be stupid with anything. But as far as psilocybin goes, it's not like you could do that drug 9 days in a row, right? The amount of it you would have to be taking by day 9 would be staggering. You'd be eating all day long to try to catch a buzz. It is a very, very odd drug that way. Same with all the trip drugs. They cause your body to dump so much of all of its natural chemicals that it takes a long time. Yeah, you're never going to fail a P test for microdosing shrooms. You're just not. There's nobody testing for that. It's just not. Love 3 Dog Night. You were given hydroxyzine for anxiety and sleep. Didn't do much for that, but was kept on for my histamine disorder. Well, it is an antihistamine, and it is a rugged antihistamine. The Real Scummy says 7 days of LSD is about max. And let's be real honest. On day 1, if you take 1 hit of LSD, on day 7, you ain't taking 1 hit of LSD. You're feeling the same thing, right? You're going to be taking so much. On the Dead tour, I've done that. So this is just, I am not a doctor. I am a drug addict, right? But I will tell you my thoughts on Booze Bar. Inside, people crush them up and sniff them. They make you feel drunk and awful. Everybody does it once. You sniff it once and go, oh God, I'm never doing that ever again. It is an antidepressant, and it makes you feel a little bit dizzy and a little bit kind of in your head kind of stuff. I was not a fan of it. I was not a fan of it. But that's but everybody, it's you and your doctor. What do we got? This could be breaking news. Wow, good Lord. That is crazy. Hang in there, girl. That's a cocktail. Thank you, Mary Jones. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Davigo? Davigo. I don't know that I ever. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know what that is. Izzy, I hate that, but I'm going to look it up. I promise you, because I can't stand there being a drug out there I haven't heard of. Hippie chick saw Three Dog Night recently. Oh man, really? I didn't even know Three Dog Night was still touring. Wow, good band. Really, really great band. And again, that was the notification for the DoorDash app on my phone. Yeah, DoorDash apps, they will make you hungry. There's no getting around it. Brianna Miller, I'm glad that you're there with everyone too. Hey, a dose of rose. You know what? I got a dose of rose and you have no idea. Never. Davigo is a new sleep medication. Thank you, Barbie M4. I am going to be checking that out. I promise I am going to be checking that out. Because I am unaware of that. And again, that really, really does drive me nuts. Sorry, people. Sorry, I'm reading. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Um, I know we had a Pop Shrooms channel explains the safe use of microdosing for medical. There you go. I have never been. It never did anything for me, but I know a lot of people who swear by it. Think it's great. I did not think it was fantastic. To me, I think it. For me personally, I don't think I got the brain that can handle it. I don't mean shrooms. Big fan of them, but I don't think that my thoughts on mushrooms, and I've done many shows on this, so you could go back and listen to them in their entirety. What food did I get from DoorDash? You don't want to hear something really funny? Jack was DoorDash. When I used DoorDash, I was using it to get stuff into the halfway house, and Jack would show up at the door. Nothing illegal, but he would get me. Where is last night's live with Relatable Reese? I'm sorry, did I do it wasn't on this channel, Serene. I was on I was on Reese's channel last night. I wasn't here with Reese. I was on Relatable Reese's channel over on on her side. Yes, you can sleep all night on cyclobenzaprine. Absolutely, you can. Now, Cindy, you're going to have to talk to a doctor to get cyclobenzaprine. You need a prescription for that, right? So talk to your doctor. Don't say, can I get cyclobenzaprine? Tell your doctor that you're having a lot of pains in your legs and you're curious what might be. You're okay, Serene. No sorry required. No big deal. What you want to do is tell your doctor, communicate with your doctor and say, listen, I got pain in the legs. Do you think a muscle relaxer might help? If you tell them that pain is keeping you're trying to get to sleep through the night, there are muscle relaxers that knock you out more than others. There are muscle relaxers that are probably a better fit to take through the day than muscle relaxers, which are a better fit to take through the night because they have a very almost narcotic kind of a feel to them versus a take the edge off kind of a feel to it. So I hope that makes sense. But don't walk in and ask for cyclobenzaprine. Go in and say, "Hey, what do you recommend?" We have a bad habit in this country and in other countries now, especially like New Zealand, because of the fact that we have commercials for damn medications. People walk in and say, "I want Viagra," instead of saying, I can't seem to get this thing to work the way it used to, right? Not letting a doctor recommend whatever they think might be the best bet. Do-do-do. Franklin, good to see you, man. Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living. All right, you know what, folks? I think I'm gonna crack my back here real quick. Sherry Rook, have a fantastic evening. I love you, hon. Sleep well. People, I'm gonna just do a quick one here. Jen Marie, I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're okay. It sucks that you got assaulted. It really does. It's such a bummer to me too. Um, it's frustrating to hear that. You know, I'm it's you can't have a YouTube channel and not piss people off. You know, that's impossible unless you just don't take a side on anything or you walk completely down the middle. I'm deep diving stuff to look into stuff on the border, and attacks are up all over the place, all over the U.S. We've never seen them this high. Now you blame it on whatever the hell you want to blame it on, but it is just a stone cold fact. It is a stone cold fact, and sadly, we are. Well, we're here, right? This is where we're at. This is where we're stuck. So we're going to have to really look out for one another. There's crime is on the rise. The number one cause of death in this country is overdoses. Right? That's pretty friggin' ugly. But it is where we live. I really hope the pain gets better, Jen Marie. I know that 2 days after the fight is always the worst. You know what I mean? Like you get that chin check, and you go, the next day is terrible. But the following day, I mean, you just cannot. You can't even chew. You know what I mean? Heather Rhodes, good to see you. Hippie chick. Glad you're here. Yeah. Just sucks that it happened. It really does. So hope you're feeling better. I would be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, there is some really, really fantastic video over on Chase the Heat of Johnny and my dad. They used to do a segment over there called The Cheese That Binds Us. There's some really, really funny clips of my brother and my dad, which is one of the all-time great gifts. Honestly, I mean it's a hookup to be able to hit a button and watch your dad. You know, I know a lot of people don't have that that gift, but I have a lot of my dad on film. He even made it into my brother's reality show. In fact, kind of cool. But yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there sure as hell wouldn't be a lifeboat without the chief. He was our communication skills, to be sure, we got from my dad. My dad was he was a very talented communicator. The workouts are going well. I will be I'll be debuting myself here a little bit. They're going well. I promise they're going. DSM is overrated. Oh, you're really funny. You're really funny. Tell the daycare kids they cannot use slang words until they've mastered the English language. I like it as an idea. I'm a fairly big fan of the English language. Blessed. My dad. I was fortunate that my dad never talked to me like I was anything other than an adult, and I think that probably benefited in my ability to communicate. I passed that on to Spanky. One of those things. Noraflex is an old muscle relaxer, but it is helpful to me at times. I'm familiar with Noraflex too. Jen Marie, you are home. Right? Carol, good to see you. Yeah, check out Need to Meeting too. If I could get one of the mods to put that up prior to us saying put like the pirate code. Take what you got. Lord Kiss Freak. I loved watching Papa Scoville on Chase the Heat. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I was a pretty big fan of that. It's a lot of fun to go back and watch. It really is, and I do it. It is a guilty pleasure. Yeah, Noraflex is it's an antihistamine. They used it off label for a couple of things. One was a calm you down, so like an and to help you sleep. Very much the same reason that they were using hydro. I can't think. I'm getting the old brain fart running. Typing at turtle speed is the only speed I have. Hydro. Lost it. Isn't that something? Isn't tomorrow Talk Like a Pirate Day? I'm not sure if it is. And it's gone. Thank you. See, Calhoun gets it. He gets it. Wow. Dad has high mileage, bipolar, alcoholic, 3 packs of menthol cigarettes a day. He passed in 2000. What an unbelievable. Hydroxyzine. That's the word I was looking for. Tomorrow is leap year. Kim is blue. And do you know why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's not convenient. We don't actually go around the earth in 365 days. We go around the world, the sun in 365 days and a quarter. So every 4 years we have to do a leap year. We also have to do a leap second. Did you know that? Yeah, that's right. We have to do a leap second as well. And did you know that we skip a leap year once every 100 years? There's all kinds of crazy crap that goes on. Crazy crap, I'm telling you. This is a pocket watch. I've shown them here before, but this one is so cool. Look at this. It is a paper thin pocket watch. Just finished repairing it, and it is still on the fob. And this one has the box and papers. So much fun playing with them again. Watch carefully. No, I'm kidding. All right, everybody, that's the wrap. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine earlier. I knew a girl in college who was born on a leap year. They celebrate it on the last day of the month. That's just how they get down. And I personally would stick to only celebrating it exactly when I should, so that I could never have to deal with that 60 or 70 thing. You know, that would really, really be a bummer. Sadie Hawkins is the one where, yes, Sadie Hawkins is the one where they celebrate the girlfriend. Random facts. Random facts. How it works for legal age to do certain things, like when you say, yeah, the girl I'm dating is 7, right? I mean, she would be what, 28. Just doesn't sound right. Would be a bit of a bummer, wouldn't it? All right, folks. The cat. Occasionally, the cat needs a day off. You know what I mean? Do not be confused with the Ides of March.
That's disappointing. The lack of squirrel.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, Sweet Liberty makes a great comment. Be kind to everyone. People are so stressed out right now. A smile goes a long way. Love to all of you. Inappropriate Heifer has twin brothers born on leap year. Wow.
That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. And then we've got this, which is always funny. That's it.
Good evening.
See that? They're on to you. All right,
Good
people.
evening.
Hey, you're in my thoughts and prayers, Jen Marie, as is Steve Molesky. The cat has left the office, not the building. She's actually burrowed her way into a big pile of blankets. We had a conversation prior to me going live. I went over and asked her how she felt about doing a show. She made a grumbling sound, which could only be described as disdain. I mean, literally, there's no other way to put it. It was nothing but sheer disdain. And I was kind enough to let it go, say, it's okay. You're good. I love you. It's no big deal. But there she goes. All right, Calhounis. I love you. That's a wrap. People, I will see you on the next one. Thoughts and prayers to everybody that needs them, and a shout out to my dad. If you've never checked him out, you should go over to Chase the Heat. Check out Papa Scoville. He was a legend, a real one. That word gets thrown around, but he was the real deal. All right, everybody, have a great night. Captain Tommy. Bye-bye.